Blockchain and Cryptocurrency, 2 books in 1. The Ultimate Guide to Bitcoin and its Technology. Learn how to profit for the coming 2020 bull run. Written by Cory Bowen. Narrated by Dickson.
Bitcoin. Everything you need to know about Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Blockchain, Ethereum. Book 3. Written by Cory Bowen. Narrated by Dickson. Chapter 1. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a digital currency that was created in 2009 by the Satoshi Nakamoto Group. In reality, nobody knows whether Satoshi was just one individual or a group of people. This is one of the greatest mysteries in the space of cryptos, and it is extremely fascinating. On the Bitcoin network, a transaction is completed without the need to depend on a middleman. There are not transaction fees that you have to pay, and you are not even requested to give your real name to the system. Therefore, it is completely safe and private to use. These days, more and more merchants are trying to change the established transactions regime and accept Bitcoin. This allows customers to use your cryptocurrency to buy pizza or spoil themselves and get a manicure. One of the major advantages of Bitcoin is that it offers a certain level of anonymity, which was expanded by other cryptos. On top of that, making international payments is cheaper and easier since there are not regulations that you have to abide to sell the tokens to your friends and family. Most small businesses will want to use Bitcoin in the future because there are not fees that they have to pay for when they are accepting credit cards. How does Bitcoin work? Bitcoin uses blockchain, a public ledger that the entire Bitcoin network will rely on. Each Bitcoin transaction is a transfer of Bitcoin value tokens between two Bitcoin wallets that are included on the blockchain. These wallets contain a secret piece of data known as a private key. People use the private key to sign the transaction to provide mathematical proof that they are the user that owns the wallet being used. This signature also assists in preventing a transaction from being altered after it has been issued to a user. Each transaction is broadcasted between the users and the blockchain, while the network confirms the transaction and places it on the blockchain. Why was Bitcoin created? That is a very good question. Bitcoin was developed as a means of exchanging currency that is not governed by the government or any other central authority. By creating Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, again, nobody knows whether it was an individual or a group of people, was able to make a currency that lowered purchasing costs for users and businesses. On top of that, cryptocurrencies are entirely digital, which makes their movements quicker and able to ensure that users do not have to wait for their money being placed in their account. Once Bitcoin is purchased or sent, then it is placed in the new account instantly. It is important to note that right now, in December 2017, Bitcoin is viewed more as a digital asset than a currency, since its transactions times are relatively long. Litecoin, a faster version of Bitcoin, is used more like a currency instead. To get a better understanding of the different cryptos, check Cryptocurrency, everything you need to learn about cryptocurrency. Chapter 2. Who controls Bitcoin? If Bitcoin is not controlled by a central authority, who manages it? The answer is easy. Every Bitcoin user around the world controls Bitcoin. The Bitcoin developers, anybody can modify the Bitcoin network since its source code is open, are continually working to improve the software, but they are not able to force the rules of Bitcoin to change since all users get to choose the software that they use. Bitcoin is only going to work with more than a 50% consensus that occurs between all users. This gives all users and developers a strong incentive to adapt to the new protocols and protect the consensus. If the consensus is broken, a hard fork takes place and a new coin is created. This is, for example, how Bitcoin Cash was generated. Bitcoin users choose what they want to do with their coins, and no one else is able to tell them what to do with them. Also, no one will be able to take coins away from you unless your wallet is hacked and someone steals your coins. Another way that your coins can be taken is if the exchange is hacked and funds are stored there. I personally do not recommend to use exchanges to store coins, but to use a hard wallet instead. Generally speaking, the wallet needs to have a strong password to be secure. The reason that Bitcoin are controlled by their users goes back to why Bitcoin was created. The group that first created Bitcoin did not want to create a currency that could be controlled by the government. But this does not stop the government from attempting to find a way to manage it anyway, as we have seen in October with the famous China ban.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?